Reviewing NHL games of December 11th, 2018. There were 10 games on today, so let's get to the board right away. The Boston Bruins beat the Arizona Coyotes 4-3, but this wasn't a given. Even though Boston has been depleted of some players, so has Arizona. One would think Boston would just take this one, and it definitely didn't start that way. Some notes here for Boston. Backus caught a skate to the face in the opening minutes from Ekman Larsson. It was a complete accident. He fell. It just caught him in the face, and he left quickly, but he came back to start in the second period, and that's sort of when Boston took over the game. So let's get to the scoring. First period, first goal. Schmaltz gets his 6th of the year on the power play from Ekman Larsson and Keller. Schmaltz is really slowly getting the engine started now that he's gone from Chicago to the Coyotes. Then Arizona goes ahead 2-0 in the first period. Cousins gets his 3rd of the year, assisted by Goligoski, yeah, there you go, and Archibald. Second period. This is when Noah comes back and he splits the ocean because, Boston basically scores 4 unanswered goals. Starting with Heinen, gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Forsbacka Karlsson and Donato. It's 2-1 Coyotes. Boston then ties it up. Pasternak gets his 21st of the season, assisted by Marchand and Krejci. It's 2-2. The game is tied, and these 2 goals were scored quite not far apart from each other, I believe. Then Boston goes ahead 3-2. Marchand gets the 2nd point of the game, his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Pasternak and Krejci, who both get their 2nd points of the night. This was just a beautiful sort of fake slap pass from Pasternak straight to Marchand, who was sitting there in the slot. Really pretty goal. Then Boston goes ahead 4-2. Marchand gets his 2nd goal of the night, his 3rd point of the game, his 10th goal of the season. Keeping track with me. And Krejci and Pasternak both get the assists. Excuse me, their 3rd point of the evening as well. We're not even a game through, and I'm already chugging. Okay. Still in the second period, Coyotes, they bite back. No pun intended. They make it 4-3. Bunting gets his 1st of the season unassisted. 3rd period, no goals, believe it or not, after that big flurry in the first 2. Kemper makes 22 saves on 26 shots. He was day-to-day before this game. He was injured. And he ended up, this is his first game back from injury. Of course, Aiden Hill, who has been playing he's been playing lights out hockey for the Coyotes in the past 5-6 games. He had maybe one stinker in there, but they gave it to Kemper as soon as he was good to play. They went with him. Be interesting to see who Coyotes put in net next. Rask makes 30 saves on 33 shots. Arizona goes 1-for-2 on the power play. Boston 0-for-2, surprisingly. Arizona is now 13-14-2 with 28 points. Boston is 17-10-4 with 38. I believe that puts them still in 4th spot in the Atlantic Division. Yeah. And in the last 10, Arizona's 4-5-1. This is the 3rd loss in a row. And Boston's now 6-4-0, and this is their 3rd win in a row. So even though they're missing some players, especially Bergeron and Chara, Boston continues to, play some pretty decent hockey. Next game up, we have Los Angeles Kings lose 3-4 to Buffalo in overtime, and LA had this game. They had it. And you're surprised, and you're like, okay, I know Anyways, I'll get to the notes of the game because this basically Buffalo won 10 straight games, right? They won 10 in a row, and then of course they've been on the slide lately, but they lost their last 5. Isn't that amazing? How that just, I mean, some of them are overtime losses and they got some points, but still, they lost 5 going into this game. And, you know, I'm watching, I didn't catch I didn't catch any of this game. I saw the highlights, but I'm watching the scoreboard and I'm just like, really? LA might take this game. No, they did not. And another side note, Skinner in this game scores his third overtime winner. This season. Let's get to the scoreboard. First period, Muzzin for LA gets his second of the season to make it 1-0. Assisted by Kopitar and Iafallo, that first line there. Then Buffalo ties it up. Girgensons with his third of the season unassisted. Second period, LA, Luff gets his 6th of the season. This kid is really looking good ever since they recalled him. Assisted by Muzzin, who gets his 2nd point already in the game. Then LA goes up 3-1. Kempe gets his 5th of the season, assisted by Leipzig, recently picked off of waivers from the Vancouver Canucks, and Forbort. Then third period, as always, I know there's a crazy stat out there about how many games Buffalo has gone into the third period losing and has come back. I want to say like 9 or 10. Please let me know in the comment section, Buffalo fans. I would love to know. So Eichel, he makes it 3-2, gets his 10th of the season on the power play, assisted by Ristolainen and Skinner. And then Buffalo ties it up. Larson gets his 2nd of the season, assisted by Pilote and Rodrigue. And then overtime, it's Skinner with his 21st of the season on the power play. Power play in overtime. LA. Assisted by Ristolainen, Skinner, by the way, who gets his 2nd point of the night. Assisted by Ristolainen and Eichel, who both get the 2nd point of the evening as well. Peterson makes 43 saves on 47 shots. Unbelievable. This is one of the kids that they recalled from the AHL after Campbell and Quick went down with injuries. Budaj came in and got blown out. They got Peterson up, and he's been really good ever since. And I know Quick is healthy again. I think Campbell is still injured, but Budaj is still in the minors, I believe. And he's doing wonderful. 47 Buffalo had 47 shots. Just crazy. Allmark made 26 saves on 29 shots. LA goes 0 for 4 on the power play. Got to work on that special teams. Buffalo 2 for 8. LA gave Buffalo 8 power play opportunities. Okay, so LA is now 11-19-2 with 24 points. They did at least get a point out of this one. Buffalo, another big comeback. 18-9-4 with 40 points. This leaves them in 3rd in the Atlantic Division behind Tampa Bay and Toronto. LA is now 4-5-1 in their last 10 with this is their 2nd loss in a row. Buffalo is now 5-3-2 in their last 10, breaking their 5-game losing streak with their first win. Next up, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets lose to the Vancouver Canucks 3-2. Some notes I have on this game. The Vancouver Canucks going into this game were 4-0-2 versus their former coach in Tortorella. Also, a Vancouver note, Pettersson gets his 10th point in his last 4 games in this game. This kid is just... he could be Vancouver's best player ever. It looks like he just may turn into that. Yes, even more than Bure. Who knows? Okay, so let's get to the scoring here. First off, Columbus gets on the board first. Jones gets his 6th of the season, assisted by Panarin and Atkinson. Second period, no goals. At one point, I want to say Anderson goes to the net with the puck and gets pushed off, but still goes right into the post, and ends up having to leave the game after that. So hopefully, did he come back? I'm not sure he did. Hopefully he's okay. In any case, so we go into the third period, 1-0 Columbus Blue Jackets. Then Josh Leivo scores for the Vancouver Canucks. His second goal as a Canuck since being traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's on that first line with Pettersson and Besser. Tanev gets the assist, and so does Pettersson. Then Columbus goes ahead again. Bjorkstrand gets his third of the season, assisted by Harrington and Dubois. It's now 2-1 Columbus. 2-2. Pettersson ties the game, gets his 16th of the season, second point of the game, assisted by Leivo, who gets his second point of the game. It was actually a slap shot from close to the blue line from Leivo, which deflected off of Pettersson for this goal. And that was also assisted by Edler. And then Vancouver goes ahead, gets the game winner on just a really bad goal for Korpisalo to let in. Just, you could see Tortorella just burning holes with his eyes through Korpisalo's forehead. Vatranen gets his 10th of the season in any case, assisted by Mott. He scores this from the corner, like beside the net. Just he whips it on net and it just squeaks past him in between the post and his pads. Just a stinker to let in, especially for the game winner. Korpisalo makes 22 saves on 25 shots. I'm sure he wants that one back. Markstrom saves 33 of 35. Good night for him. Columbus goes 0-2 on the power play. Vancouver 0-1. Columbus, the Blue Jackets are now 14-16-3 with 31 points. That leaves them second in the Metro. They should be still second in the Metro. Lost my train of thought here. Vancouver is now 16-12-2 with 34 points. In Columbus's last 10 games, they're 4-6-0. There's their second loss in a row. And Vancouver is now 4-5-1 with 3 wins in a row now. So the Canucks are starting to get something going here. Hopefully they can keep it up. Next game, the Florida Panthers lose 3-4 to the St. Louis Blues. Some notes on this game. Bortuzzo, this is funny. Bortuzzo, who got in a fist fight during practice with Sanford. It was more like a beating that he laid on Sanford. And it was viral. You'll catch it online. It's been showing up everywhere. In the opening minutes, Bortuzzo throws the puck in from about just before the blue line in the into the offensive zone, and it hits the ref who's standing in the corner, right in the midsection, like right in the belt buckle area, and it goes off him. He goes down, and the puck goes right towards Luongo and squeaks in between the post and the goalie. And of course the goal light and the horn goes off and everything. But it's not a goal because you can't assume, the goals are not allowed if they go in off the ref. But you have to see this. It'll be all over. Yeah, it'll be all over social media tonight. It was pretty funny. The ref did lose the game, but did lose the game. He scored a goal. The ref did leave the game, but he returned later on. He was okay. Another note here for St. Louis. Perron was a healthy scratch on Sunday. Yeah, but he ended up having a really big game today. So in any case, let's get to the scoring. First period. Florida scores a first. Dadonov gets his 14th of the season, assisted by Huberdeau. No goals in the second. Third period, just a smorgasbord of goalage. Most of it coming from St. Louis. They tied up, the Blues, that is. Barbashev gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Thomas and Sundqvist. Then they go ahead 2-1. Can you still see me? Yeah, there we are. Perron, there he is, gets his 9th of the season, assisted by Schwartz. Schwartz was amazing in this game. This was also his first game back after, I want to say, 11 games after an upper body injury, I believe. And he really injected some spark into this team for sure. So we'll see if maybe St. Louis will be playing a little bit better now with him in the lineup. They usually do. I digress, though. Then St. Louis goes ahead 3-1. Perron gets his 2nd goal of the night, his 10th of the season, assisted by Schwartz, who gets his 2nd point of the night, and Shen. The Panthers bite back. They make it 3-2. Uyghur gets his 1st of the season, assisted by McCann and Pisk. Yeah, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, then Florida ties it up. You're like, what? What is happening in this game? Hoffman gets his 15th of the season, assisted by Huberdeau, who gets his 2nd point of the night, and Barkov. At this point, after that goal, when Florida tied it up, St. Louis called a timeout. The coach called a timeout. And, he rallied the troops, etc., etc. And apparently it worked because soon after that, St. Louis gets his game winner. Shen, scored by Shen, who gets his 2nd point of the night, his 7th of the season, assisted by Steen and Dunn. Luongo made 29 saves on 33 shots. Allen 22 on 25. Florida was 0 for 2 on the power play, same as St. Louis, which in this game they also had one of their power plays was a 4-minute for a high stick, I believe. Florida is now 11-12-6 with 28 points. St. Louis is 11-14-4 with 26. In their last 10, Florida is 3-4-3, and this is their 3rd loss in a row. St. Louis are 4-5-1 in their last 10, and they snapped their losing streak with this one win. Their 1-game losing streak. In any case, next game, the Washington Capitals hammer the Detroit Red Wings 6-2. Some notes I have here, starting with, they're all for Washington, really. Ovi gets his 6th multi-goal game of the season in this game. Also, TJ Oshie is back after missing 11 games with a concussion. If you remember, he was sort of like scooped up and body slammed in one, checked and scooped and body slammed in one, full motion. I'm trying to remember which team it was or who it was who did it to him, but in any case, he's back, which is good news because he has a good game in this match as well. And then my last note for this one, Ovi gets his 21st hat trick of his career in this game. This guy, he does not slow down. He's amazing. Okay, so first period, Connolly gets his 6th of the season, gets on the board for Washington, 1-0 on the power play, assisted by Carlson and Kuznetsov. Then Washington goes ahead 2-0. Boyd gets his 2nd of the season, assisted by Dowd and Jaskin. That looks like the 4th line. Then Washington goes, before the 2nd, they go ahead 3-0. Ovechkin starts to get on the fun. Gets his 23rd of the season to make it 3-0, assisted by Backstrom and Kempe. 2nd period, more Washington, more Ovi. Capitals go ahead 4-0. Ovi gets his 2nd goal of the game, his 24th of the season, assisted by Carlson and Backstrom, who both get their 2nd points of the night. Then Washington goes ahead again. They go ahead 5-0. Oshie, there he is, his first game back, gets his 10th goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Backstrom, his 3rd point of the night, and Kuznetsov, his 2nd. 3rd period, Detroit throws some gumption. Larkin makes it 5-1. He gets his 13th of the season for Detroit, assisted by Nyquist and Jensen. Washington says, no, you don't. Ovi needs a hat trick. He does, yeah. And that's what happens. Ovi gets his third goal of the game, gets the hat trick for his 25 goals of the season. I'm pretty sure that leads the league right now. Assisted by Juice and Backstrom with his 4th point of the night. Detroit scores another one. Nyquist gets his 8th of the season, his 2nd point of the night, who may be in trade rumors later because he's on his last year of his contract. Assisted by Abdicator. Bernier. I think Bernier started this. Looks like, yeah, I think Bernier started this game. He made 10 saves on 15 shots when he was pulled for Howard, who made 9 saves on 10 shots. Holtby saved 35 of 37. Detroit went 0 for 1 on the power play. Washington was 2 for 2. Lethal power play. Detroit is now 14-14-4 with 32 points. Washington 18-9-3 with 39, and they're looking like one of the hottest teams in the league right now because in their last 10 they're now 8-2-0, and this is their 3rd win in a row. Detroit is 4-4-2 in their last 10, this being their first loss of that stretch. Next game, and last game on the board anyways, is the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1. Some notes on this. McElhinney is injured. He was injured, I want to say, 1 or 2 games ago. Marzik started. Peter Marzik started in net, and Darling was recalled 1 or 2 days ago as well from the AHL affiliate. Toronto note here. Toronto coming into the game was looking to avoid losing their 3rd straight game for the first time this season. It hasn't happened. So, and last note on Toronto, Marner gets his, check this out. Marner gets his 35th assist of in this season, which triggers a 212,500 ELC bonus on his contract. That's one expensive assist, boy. Okay, starting with the scoring. First period, Toronto gets on the board first. Ennis gets his 5th of the season. He looks good on that 5th line. That 5th line looked good all night, actually. Assisted by Gauthier, who's getting better each and every game. Big body, goes to the net, gets disruptive in the offensive zone, and is defensively responsible. And assisted by Dermott as well, who could be taking over Jake Gardner's spot next year. Second period, Carolina ties it up. Williams looked fast on this play, on this goal. He got ahead behind the defenseman, gets his 6th of the season on the power play by Aho, assisted by Aho and Rask. Still in the second, Toronto goes ahead 2-1. Now, Riley scores this one, and this is his 10th of the season, which equals his total for last season, and we're not even halfway through the season yet. So, Riley continues to rack up the points here. And that was assisted by Matthews and Nylander. But this goal was also kind of fluky. It was fluky. It's nothing. It wasn't kind of fluky. It was fluky. But, hey, you make your own luck, right? This was a shot passed through the crease, and it was an own goal by Dougie Hamilton, who tried to block the pass, but instead put it in his own net. Yeah. Third period. Marleau, Leafs make it 3-1. Marleau gets his 8th of the season, assisted by Nylander, who's quietly getting his. Actually, not quietly. He looked good. He looked much better this game than the past 2. This is his 3rd season back since. Hope you didn't hear that. Hear what? Nothing. This is Nylander's 3rd game back, and he's just looked good. In this game, he definitely, you can tell he was gassed at certain parts. If he's on the ice for over like 40 seconds, it's time. He took a few penalties, including a high stick. He drew a 4-minute major in the high stick, in which he cut the player in the first period. He got a holding penalty. All because he was just, you can tell he needed to get back to the bench. In any case, I'm blabbing. So Marlowe makes it 3-1, assisted by Nylander, second point of the night, and Kadri. Then Leafs make it 4-1 in the third. Tavares gets his 19th of the season. He keeps chugging along, assisted by Marner, cha-ching, and Gardner as well. Anderson saves 29 of 30 shots. He looked really good. He bounced back really well after that. I want to say the Boston game they had last. Yeah, with the, 6 goals or something. Peter Mrazek saves 25 of 29. Leafs go 0 for 4 in the power play. They happen to be the least penalized team in the league, I believe, and they also have the least amount of power play time as well. So if you don't practice, even with players like that on the power play, it gets, goals dry up. Carolina goes 1 for 4 on theirs, which they did not score on their 4-minute power play, by the way. The Leafs killed that. Toronto's now 21-9-1 with 43 points. Second in the Atlantic behind Tampa Bay. I mean, everyone's behind Tampa Bay right now. Carolina is now 13-12-4 with 30 points. Toronto is in their last 10, they're 6-3-1. They snapped their 2-game losing streak with their first win. And Carolina is 5-4-1 in their last 10. This being their first loss of that. Let's move on to the second board, shall we? Welcome to the second board. All right. Nashville Predators beat the Ottawa Senators 3-1. First period. Smith for Ottawa gets his 5th goal of the season. Remember the guy they waived earlier in the year? Assisted by Zingle and Ceci. Nashville then ties the game before we get into the second period. Watson gets his 6th of the season, assisted by Ekholm and Sissons. Second period. Nashville goes ahead 2-1. Ellis gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by Yossi and Johansson. Third period. Excuse me. It's kind of a burp there, but an inside burp. Third period. Smith gets his 9th of the season, assisted by Jarnkruk. And this is a beautiful goal. This is very Glenn Anderson goal. It's worth checking the highlights out for that one. Speaking of Anderson, he makes 33 saves on 36 shots. Rene saves 25 of 26. Ottawa goes 0 for 2 on the power play, as does Nashville. Ottawa's now 13-15-4 with 30 points. Nashville is 20-10-1 with 41 points. In the last 10 games, Ottawa is 4-5-1. This is their second loss in a row. Nashville, they're now 5-5-0. This being the first win. On to the next game. Minnesota the Minnesota Wild just spanked the Montreal Canadiens in this game 7-1. What up with that? Montreal, that's just, oh man, that hurt. Okay, so some side notes on this. Coyle from Minnesota. Coyle has been in some trade talks recently, some trade rumors, so to speak, because of his, he's had some low production, so on and so forth. He only had 4 goals going into this game. So what does he do? He scores in the game. Let's see if that ups his value or if they decide to keep him. In any case, note from Montreal, with 5 minutes left in this one, 5 minutes left in the third period, they decide to pull Niemi after the last Wild goal, and they put in Price after the 7th goal. A wild note here: Dumba is looking like Minnesota's next Brent Burns. Just don't trade him to the Sharks. Whatever you do... Okay. Let's get to the scoreboard. First period, Niederreiter from Minnesota gets scores to make it 1-0. His 5th of the season, assisted by Brodin and Parise. Second period, it's just all Minnesota, as is the game, really. Dumba, there he is, gets his 11th of the season on the power play, assisted by Granlund and Parise, who gets his 2nd point of the night already. Dumba just knows when to jump into the play. He's got that killer instinct, that's for sure. Then Minnesota goes ahead 3-0. Coyle, there he is, gets his 5th goal of the season, shorthanded, assisted by Foligno. Then Minnesota makes it 4-0. Stahl gets his 11th of the season, assisted by Granlund, who gets his 2nd point of the night. Then it's 5-0, still in the second. Spurgeon gets his 4th goal of the season on the power play, assisted by Zucker and Niederreiter, who gets his 2nd point of the night. Third period, more Minnesota. More Dumba, gets his 12th of the season, 2nd of the night. On the power play, a lot of power play goals here. Assisted by Granlund, who gets his 3rd point of the evening, and Suter. Then, yay, Montreal scores one. Petrie gets his 5th of the season, assisted by Chaput and Shaw. Minnesota just, throws in another one for good luck. Lucky number 7, right? This is the one that chases Niemi. Parise gets his 3rd point of the night. First goal of the night, 14th of the season on the power play, assisted by Spurgeon and Suter, who both get their 2nd point of the evening. Niemi saves 17 of 24. Price saves 9 of 9. Dubnyk for the Wild saves 29 of 30. Montreal goes 0 for 1 on the power play. Minnesota goes 4 for 4. What happened? What up with that Canadian penalty kill, huh? Montreal is now 15-11-5 with 35 points on the season. Minnesota's 16-12-2 with 34. In their last 10, Montreal is 4-5-1, this being their first loss. And then Minnesota is 4-6-0, this being their first win. Next up, we've got the Winnipeg Jets. Beat Chicago 6-3. Now some side notes. Chicago has been outscored 27-6 in the first period of the last 11 games. But they did show some fight in this game. So let's get to the board. First period, 1-0 Winnipeg. Scheifele gets his 17th of the season on the power play, assisted by Byfuglien and Wheeler. 2-0 Jets. Myers gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by Roslovic. 3-0 Jets. Connor gets his 12th of the season, assisted by Lanny. Another assist for Lanny. Not a goal. Second period, 4-0 Jets. Connor gets his 2nd of the night, 13th of the season, on the power play, assisted by Scheifele and Byfuglien, who both get their 2nd points of the evening as well. Then Chicago comes alive. Dylan Strome, who was traded from the Coyotes for Schwartz. Schwartz or Schmaltz? Anyways, he gets his 7th of the season, assisted by Kane and Keith. This was a pretty goal for Strome too. It was kind of like a slow-mo spinorama. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find that on Twitter. Then Chicago scores again, so it's 4-2. Cahoon gets his 4th of the season, assisted by Yokiharu and Kempf. And then we move on to the third period. Chicago again. So they're making the game interesting now. It's now 4-3 Winnipeg. Chicago scores. DeBrincat, gets his 12th of the season, assisted by Kane. Winnipeg puts an end to that when they make it 5-3. Perreault gets his 4th of the season on another power play, assisted by Ehlers and Myers, who gets his 2nd point of the night. And then on an empty net goal for Winnipeg, Tanev gets his 6th of the season, and Byfuglien gets his 3rd point of the evening. Ward makes 28 saves on 33 shots. He made a windmill save on, I want to say, Kane in this. Was that my dog snoring? Yeah, sorry. Okay. And then Brossois makes 32 saves on 35 shots. Chicago's 0 for 2 on the power play. Winnipeg's 3 for 5 on the power play. Just one of the best in the league there. The Blackhawks are now 9-18-5 with 23 points. I believe they're tied for last in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And the Jets are 19-9-2 with 40 points. In their last 10, Chicago is 1-9-0. This is their 8th loss in a row. Hey, dog. There's a dog down here. Just don't knock over the camera, okay? And Winnipeg is now 7-3-0, and this is their 2nd win in a row. Let's move on to the last game of the day. This one I caught most of this game as well as a couple of others. But in any case, Edmonton Oilers beat the Colorado Avalanche 6-4. This was definitely an exciting game to watch. Lots going on in this game. Some side notes, starting with Edmonton. Clefbaum. Some bad news. He blocked a shot with his hand in the 2nd period, and he stayed for a bit, but then left for the rest of the game. Hopefully he doesn't miss any more. Side note here for Colorado, Varlamov was pulled in the 2nd period after letting in his 3rd goal on 18 shots, and Grubauer took over, but it didn't help much because on the first shot on Grubauer, guess who had the puck? McDavid, racing down the side of the ice. And, he scored on the first shot on Grubauer. Another Colorado note here. Rantanen now leads the NHL with like 52 points. And funny thing happened here late, I want to say sometime in the 3rd period. There was a fight between Edmonton's Benning and the Avalanche's Calvert. It was a spirited bout. You know, both guys got in quite a few shots. And when Benning went into the penalty box, because this was in Colorado, some fan was just smacking on the window, like, you know, people do in most all across the league. You know, they try and irritate the guy sitting in the box, and anyways, he's smacking it with his open hand, and and the glass just shatters. So the guy gets cut a little bit on his face, his hand, and the game stopped for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so while they had to clean it up, and as if Benning he couldn't stay in the box because they had to continue the game because the cleanup was taking too long. So he sat behind the Oilers bench. It was kind of funny. In any case, scoreboard. First period, Edmonton, the only goal. Brodziak gets his 3rd of the season, assisted by Nurse. 2nd period, if the Oilers hit the gas here, Nugent Hopkins gets his 9th of the season on the power play, assisted by McDavid and Benning, to make it 2-0, 3-0. Nugent Hopkins gets his 2nd goal of the night, his 10th of the season, assisted by Lucic. Actually, a nice interception. A puck steal here from Lucic, who then passed it off to the Nuge to get that goal. Then Edmonton makes it 4-0. McDavid gets that's the goal that chased the goalie. Gets his 17th of the season, assisted by Draisaitl and Larson. Beautiful pass by Draisaitl on this goal too. And then Colorado says hello, and Rantanen gets his 13th of the season, assisted by Barry and Landeskog to make it 4-1 for Edmonton. Then Edmonton answers back right away. They make it 5-1. Draisaitl gets his 2nd point of the game, 16th of the season, assisted by Kassian and Brodziak. 3rd period. Now this game gets interesting because Colorado it's like Rantanen was saying in the post game interviews. He was like, we don't think of the score. We just keep playing. We just keep playing hard, and they did. So it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5-1. Colorado makes it 5-2. Wilson gets his 8th of the season on the power play, assisted by Rantanen, second point of the night, and Landeskog, second for him as well. Then Edmonton scores, makes it 6-2. So you're like, there's still nothing's happening here. Nurse gets his 4th of the season on the power play, assisted by the Nuge, who gets his 3rd point on the night, and Draisaitl as well. Then Colorado make it 6-3. You're like, They also pulled their goalie at one point because they had a power play as well. And in any case, Rantanen makes it 6-3, his 3rd point of the night, 2nd goal of the evening as well, 14th goal of the season, assisted by McKinnon. Surprisingly, that's McKinnon's 1st point of the night so far. And then they make it 6-4. And Koskinen, by the way, was really good in this game. It could have been, you're saying, what, he let in 4 goals. But it could have been, Colorado should have ran with this game, actually. And he kept them in it, especially in the first period. So I digress. Colorado makes it 6-4. Landeskog gets his 3rd point of the night, his 18th goal of the season, assisted by Rantanen, his 4th point of the night, and McKinnon, his 2nd. Koskinen made 39 saves on 43 shots. As I said, he was really, really good in this game. Grubauer made, let's start with Varlamov, made 15 saves on 18 shots. Grubauer, 5 on 8. So they both let in 3 goals. Edmonton is now 17-12-2 with 36 points. They're doing really well under Hitchcock. And Colorado is now 17-9-5 with 39 points. Still a great team. I'm sure they'll come out of it because this is their 2nd loss in a row. And they're 6-3-1 in their last 10 games, the Avalanche. And Edmonton is now 7-2-1 in their last 10, and this is their 4th win in a row. Could the Oilers grab a playoff spot at this rate? I think they can. The games for tomorrow, there are 4 of them on Wednesday, December 12th. We have the Vegas Golden Knights versus the New York Islanders. We have the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Blackhawks playing back-to-back games there. The Philadelphia Flyers will play the Calgary Flames. And the Dallas Stars will face the Anaheim Ducks, who have looked really good. Who also picked up Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson was waived by the St. Louis Blues, was it today or yesterday? And Anaheim grabbed him, scooped him up, because Miller was injured, I want to say yesterday, late in the game. I remember watching it, and it went to commercial because he was starting the game, and then they came back, and Gibson was in that, and it was like, what just happened? And I was flicking between channels, so I never got the story. Apparently, I think he hurt his ankle or something, or sprain. In any case, so Johnson is now an Anaheim Duck. That's it. That's all. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on today's games. Hit like if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have any hockey geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.